Good afternoon. This is our third session today. In the last two sessions, I have discussed the overview of operation research, operation management. Then yesterday we have a detailed discussion about plant product selection and process selection. Now, to carry forward our discussion, once the product is selected, process is selected, the third important decision that comes to the mind of an operation manager or the persons who are in charge of the company is the location. That means where the company should produce these products. So a factory or a plant is the manufacturing facility of a company. That means a factory or is a place where all manufacturing facilities are available, where the processing or conversion takes place from input to output. Similarly, the office of the service sector company, such as courier company, a bank, an insurance company, are its facilities. The facility locations decision is very important for big business houses. Wrong location decision will lead to heavy loss for the organizations. So the service sector, they also give importance to now the locational aspect. A bank where many customers visit for different banking transactions, courier company, insurance, all these are the important sector of an economy. So a good location of a production or service facility will give cost advantages to production or services, may also reduce raw materials and distribution cost. And if the Indian scenario, we find many companies have remained sick or have stopped business because of wrong choice of a location. So a good location is very much essential for any business organization. Let it be, may it be manufacturing or it may be service sector. So to come with or to start with our discussion today, what is facility location? Facility location is the process of identifying the best geographical location for a service or production facility, selecting suitable location for economic and effective operations. So, as the definition says, facility location is the method of identifying the best geographical location which will give us economic and effective advantages. Economic advantages means cost reduction. We have cost reduction and effective operations. We can have raw materials availability or we can have manpower availability. This gives you effective operations. So company identify the best geographical location which is required to carry out the business. So why there is a need for selecting a suitable locations? Here I have mentioned 4 factors, but there may be numerous factors. There may be many factors which may induce a company to go for a suitable location. Now, when you start a business for the first time, while starting a new factory. So when you do business for the first time, it is important to find out the suitable locations. Location, so need for selecting first arises when you start a business for the first time. Second case may be when a company existing plant goes for expansion and the land or the site where it is currently doing business may not be sufficient for expansion. So it goes for a new locations where the new expanded plant can be set up. So company go for a new location, go for a search for a new location or select a new location when they expand their business. And company go for selection because of expiry of lease or non-renewal. What is that? Suppose I have taken one land or one premises for 15 years or 20 years of lease. There is an agreement between the owner and the business entrepreneur. Now, after 20 years, the lease has expired and the owner of the property is not interested in renewing the lease. In that case, the entrepreneur has to select another area, another site, another place to start the business, because by legally he cannot continue his business after the expiry of the lease. And when existing plant is to be relocated to some other place, maybe due to some or reasons, if it is to be relocated, then some other need may be cost advantages. All the locations may not have the identical cost of production. There may be differences in cost, and company constantly search where there is a cost advantages, where there is the cost of production is minimum, the cost of production is less. So cost advantages is another criteria or another factor which makes selecting a suitable location. Sometimes company goes for a new location when a raw material is discovered, new type of raw material is discovered, and the company wants to produce or locate his manufacturing facilities at the place of the new raw material where it is discovered. Now, sometimes there is additional facilities which is associated in a place that also gives the requirement for a new location. Sometimes company merge, two or more company merge. Therefore, in that case, the company has to find a new locations. Political and social changes. Some political factors and social factors are also responsible for selecting a suitable locations. Now, the Ratan Tata's project of starting a Tata Motors plant in West Bengal could not be materialized because of some political reasons, and that forced him to select a new locations. And sometimes when there is increasing demand for a product, and your present plant is not sufficient, and the demand is confined to a particular area or particular locations, then we may be interested to set up industries in those areas. Sometimes government gives tax benefits. Sometimes the government gives tax benefits to different entrepreneurs to start a business in different areas or locations. That also arises the need for selecting a suitable locations. So overall, if we see the need, there are basically four important needs. When you start a new business factory, expansion, and existing plant is to be relocated to some other place, or sometimes there is expiry of lease or non-renewal. Then while you select a locations, there are certain objectives are involved. Now, first is reduce operating cost. Operating cost is very important, and company go for a suitable locations to reduce the operating cost, or sometimes it is called per unit cost, or the average cost of producing must be, it reduces because of certain advantages which are there in a particular locations, which help the company to reduce the operating cost. Then sometimes the location also helps in effective plant layout. As I've already told in my last lecture, plant layout is nothing but it is an arrangement of the facilities, arrangement of the machinery, arrangement of the equipments. Now, if our location is perfect, if our location is suitable, then we can go for an effective plant layout. If location and layout is, say, interlinked, if location is not good, and we may not get an effective plant layout. Sometimes coordinating with government policies, government sometimes allows certain incentives, tax benefits. To avail that, we make a location decisions. Then we go for employee security, welfare, and public safety. The objective of location decision is we should go for those places where employees are secured, their welfare is taken care of, and there is safety of the public. Besides that, we have some other, say, objectives in location decision. That may be congestion reduction. What is that congestion reduction? Congestion means overcrowded in a particular place. Then the company is forced to find a location, is to find a place to locate a machinery or an industry where the congestion is less. Yes, elimination of unnecessary occupied areas is another important objective. Reduction of administrative and indirect work, improvement of control and supervision, better adjustment and to changing conditions, and better utilization of workforce. This may be the main objectives of better utilization. We go for location where manpower are perfectly utilized, where there is better adjustment to changing conditions. Now, when you talk about the location decisions, it follows certain, say, steps. Certain steps. These steps are, there are 4 important steps. First is within a country or outside the country, or selection of a region or selection of a locality. Then comes the exact site where you should set off our industries. So the first is domestic or international. That means, should I do my business in domestic market or in international? Should I manufacture domestically or should I manufacture outside my home country? Then if it is international, the next decision come which country I will choose or which country I will select. Now, there are many continents, there are many countries, African countries, European countries, US, and all these countries are there. My problem is to find or select a particular country where I can do my business. So while choosing a country, I have to see various factors. I have to take into consideration various factors and which determine or which helps me to take a decision. Now, first is political and legal concern. That is very important nowadays. Political and legal concerns. Legal concern means the income tax you pay, isn't it? The income tax, lot of legal taxes, there are legal concerns. Suppose there is a legal concern. If you do business in a particular country, you cannot export that. That should be a particular. We are coming to the next point. Then what is the percentage of income tax? Then political, if a country is politically stable or not, what type of government it is there? Is it an elected government or it is military rule? What type of, how the decisions are taken, whether the decisions taken by the political administration legislature is quick or not. All these are concerns. So if in a country the politically is very sound, stable, there is no the government lasts for the period for which it is elected, and there is no midterm poll, and government policies, regulations do not change frequently, and the legal concern is very favorable to the organizations, then I may not hesitate to set up my business there. Then export and import quotas. So when you produce in an outside the country, you must be concerned about what percentage of your sales you can export outside and how much you can import your raw materials, whether you are import quotas or you have to use the domestic input. That is very important. So the second decision is export and import quotas, currency exchange rate. This is also very important. Then cultural issues. What are the cultural background of that country? Whether culturally the country is advanced or not. So the decisions first comes to our mind is domestic or international. If it is international, which country I will do, then decisions are taken on the basis of various factors, various criteria. Now, once the country or then I have to selection of region. That means which place I will do my business. Suppose I have selected India. So India's which region I should go? Should be eastern part, western part, or it should be what type of region I should do my business. Now, first, while selecting a region, there are different factors that come to a operation manager's mind is availability of resources. Now, talking about resources, raw materials and human resources and customers are most important. There has to be some customer and market for your product and service. The market growth potential and location of competitors are important factors that can influence the location. So, locating a plant or facility nearer to the market is preferred. If the promoters of service required, if the promptness of service is required, then you have to locate your industry near to the customers. If the product is relatively inexpensive and transportation cost add substantially to the cost, a location should be close to the customers. So first we should find the customers, then we should find out the raw materials. Raw materials is an important input. Without raw materials, any organizations cannot work. I will give some examples here. Take Gujarat and Ahmedabad. Take for Orissa, Bihar, Jharkhand. Now, if you see in Gujarat or Ahmedabad, there are a lot of cotton industries, textile industries. Why? Cottons are available in plenty there. So therefore, the raw materials are easily available and available in abundantly. So similarly, these states which I mentioned, Orissa or Jharkhand or say Bihar, they are minerally very rich. There is steel, iron ore which are available. Therefore, we find many steel companies are operating in those areas. So, while selecting a region, we must find out raw materials. Raw materials is very important. Without raw materials, the organizations may not survive. Then human resources, HR, the availability of skilled manpower, the prevailing wage pattern, the living cost, and industrial relation situation influence the location. That means whether the skilled manpower is available or not. Isn't it? Skilled manpower, the prevailing wage pattern, what is the living cost? Living cost is very important. Then industrial relation situation, then transportation facilities and climate. Adequate transportation facilities are essential for economic operations of a production system. For company that produce or buy heavy or bulk products, low value for tons commodities, water transportation is very essential. On the other hand, if a company is producing a very small or very costly product and it has to be sold in the international market, the product is very small, but its value is very high and it has to be sold in the international market. We have a, say, airport is necessary. Similarly, for domestic transportation, we must have an adequate facility of road and railway facilities. Now, if the product is bulk product and low value for tons commodities, we prefer a water transportation. So generally we find there are growth of industries near the seaport. We find in Orissa, Paradip, in say Chennai or in Calcutta, or to that matter, Mumbai, all these, Visakhapatnam, all these port areas, they are highly developed because of the transportation facilities. Then government incentives, climate is also another factor which also influence the business, climate. Now, if you see, for certain industries, climate is very important. Textile industries is very important. Why? Because many state in humid conditions, we require humid conditions for this, and some plants require say cold climate. So depending on the climate which is suitable to a industries, we should locate our industries. Then government incentives. Sometimes what happen, government in order to have a balanced regional growth of the organization of the country, balanced, that means we find there is a disparity in the growth. That means some part of our country is growing, some parts are lagging behind. To maintain a balance, what the government does, government gives certain incentives. Government provides certain incentives. What type of incentives? Government provides some subsidies, tax benefit, tax holidays, sell tax benefit, or now all these attract, the entrepreneurs to select the region. Yes. Economic environment. Many state governments have strict environment policy in place. Now, what is that? Strict environment policy. Pollution is a now pollution control is the many states are adhering to that. Then many state governments strict environment policy in place, and to that the company should adhere. So when we select a region, we may take these 5 important criteria. First is resource availability, market facilities, transportations, government incentives, then economic environment. Then selection of locality and community. Availability of workforce. When you talk about workforce, many things comes to our mind. First is availability of cheap, skillful and efficient labor. If you talk about this, India and the other developing countries have abundance of labor. But the problem is there, labor is there, but they lack skill, they lack efficiency. That is where if you compare the Indian workers and Chinese workers, the Chinese workers are preferred over Indians because of their efficiency or skillful. Though so availability cheap and skilled and efficient labor and complementary business in the area. What is that complementary business in the area? If you are having a big industries, then we want certain small or some ancillary industries which will provide spare parts or some say complement or some help to the big business. So Jamshedpur is an example of complementary business in the area. With the growth of Tata Steel, we find lot of complementary businesses come up. Yes. Availability of safety needs and basic needs of the employees. While you choose a locality or community, we should see the safety and basic needs of the basic needs means there must be a hospital, there must be schools for their children, there must be entertainment centers, there must be park, there must be amusement facilities. Then safety needs may be internal safety and external safety. Within the organization, they should feel safe. And when you go outside, they also face. Now, in an area, if we find the employees are not feeling safety, so it is not fruitful to select a location. And what is the tax in that area? What is the tax in that locality or in that community? So tax is very important. So the tax, excessive tax, say increases the say cost of production. Yes. Then selection of exact site. Once you go to the region, suppose I find Orissa is my region or to Bihar to my, then I will go for exact site or exact place where I will do. Here, I will take two factors, waste disposable and soil and topology. Soil and topology of the area should be taken into consideration while selecting the. Now, every organization or every manufacturing unit, after it produces certain output, it gets some waste, and the waste has to be disposed of. It should not be left free. It will say pollute our ecology, it will pollute our river, it will uh, pollute our air. Therefore, we should select a location or site where the sufficient facility for waste disposable should be there. And there should be soil and topology. What is the soil conditions and topological conditions of that site should be taken into considerations. So, location of, so basically, if I say, what are the factors that determine, say, exactly, say, responsible for, I can find certain important factors. First is market. Market is very important. That means there has to be some customers, market for the product. The market growth potential and location are important factors. Locating a plant or facilities nearer to the market is preferred. Then after market, important factor is, I told you, the availability of, say, availability of raw materials, availability of manpower, whether raw materials are available or not, whether manpower is available or not. Then the environment, community considerations. Then we come to cheap and skilled and effective labor. And while selecting a site, we have to be very careful of waste disposal as well as disposable process of waste, including solid, liquid, or gaseous effluents. And in selection of site, the most important thing is community attitude. What is the attitude of that community? It is very difficult to evaluate this. Most community usually welcome setting up a new industries. It will provide opportunities to the local people. But in case of polluting or dirty industries, they do also try their utmost to locate them, not to locate them in their place. So, what is the attitude? Sometimes attitudes plays an important role. We have many case studies. The POSCO project in Orissa could not materialize due to this community attitude, because the local people were opposed and as a result of that, we could not, or the proposal could not materialize. So it was a great loss. Now, before we go into the exact techniques of, let's discuss about the location of service facilities. As I am taking into consideration because service sector now is important sector, and operation management scope has been extended to include the service sector also. So, while locating service facilities, we have also certain criteria. Now, service establishments are growing much faster than manufacturing units, and it contributes a chunk part of our, say, national income. The service facilities are spread all over India and relatively less capital incentives. And if you see in the last decade, new type of services are developing, such as restaurants, hotels, entertainments, beauty parlors, courier services. All these are developing, and the important considerations while you locate a service facilities are, we have to see near the customer base. In small service facility, the success is farms good location of the service center. So when you talk about a service facility, it should be located near to the customer base, where the customer is there. Then second thing is multiple points to be closer with the customers. So regular interaction and contact with customer increases their business. Now, many of the multinationals, there's Domino, McDonald's. If you see to a big city, we don't find single points of sale. We find multiples. And if the city is very large, if you have a single point of sale, it cannot generate sales, or it will only generate sales up to that area, particular area, because the distance is so much and so large in big cities, it's not possible to come to a point where the transportation or the commutations is very difficult. Then in case of locating service units, maximization profit should be taken into account. In case of locating service unit, we should take into maximization profit and market needs to the customer segment, target segment priority. I will give some example here. So suppose the college students are the customers. For them, near a college or near a, say, coaching center where students comes regularly, we must have a copier. Xerox machine should be there. We should have a coffee shop, because most of the students come to a coffee shop and sit. There must be restaurants for the students to take food. There must be some, say, rotational library where students can take books, return them, again take books. So we should see the market needs of the customer segment. Accordingly, we will set up the service facilities. So to say that service sectors nowadays is very important, and certain things are also to be kept in mind while setting up service facilities. Yes. Now, talking about the operational strategies for multiple facilities. There are 3 strategies for organizations to have more than one facilities for pursuing their operations. Separate facilities for different products and services. Companies which are diversified product service ranges prefer to have separate facilities for each of these. That means if a company sells TV, company sells, say, refrigerator, or company have courier service, or company have, say, other related service with courier, then these are called diversified product or service. Then the company may prefer to have separate facilities. Then each facilities takes care of the entire population or total geographical area for a particular area. And this is done to avoid, avoid the confusion. Many companies, Videocon, LG, and Samsung, all these have separate facilities for different product and services. Second is, when you have multiple facilities, separate facilities to serve different geographical area. I will take your example of Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Pepsi and Coca-Cola are perfect example of separate facilities to serve different geographical area. That means these two companies have their plants located not on a particular place. They are located in different, their bottling plants are located in different parts of the countries, and they are scattered all over the countries. We find bottling plant in Orissa, you find in different states, in, say, Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, you have bottling plants. And what they do, the bottling plant in a particular state caters to the needs of that population of that area. Separate facilities for different processes. So, what is the operation strategy for multiple facilities? So, first is separate facilities for different products, separate facilities to serve different geographical areas. Then, coming to the location of exact site, there are certain quantitative techniques. The time is, due to time constraints, we cannot discuss but important factors are location of factor rating, break-even analysis, center of gravity technique. Now, location analysis techniques, the first, develop a list of relevant factors. Assign weight to each factor reflecting in importance to the firm. Develop a rating scale for the factors. Score each location and each factor based on the scale. Multiply the scores by weights for each factor. Total the weighted scores of each location and mark a recommendation based on maximum points. So, location analysis technique will do factor analysis. As I told you, while locating a plant, there are various factors. It may be raw materials, it may be, say, power, it may be, say, human resources. So many factors are there, but each factors are not important. Each factors are not important. So what you do here, we assign weight. So for example, for some company, we give more weightage to raw materials. Some other company gives more weightage to transportation. So weightage vary from company to company based on the basis of the nature of their product and what type of product they are producing. Develop a rating scale. Scale may be 1 to 5 scale, and give a score of each location on each factor based on the scale. So let's see How it is done? Now, I have taken a two, say, location A, location, say, B. Now, there are three or four factors I have taken: availability of raw materials, adequacy of water, climate, civil amenities, availability of land. Suppose I have taken a score, or I have taken some other is not visible, transportation or something like that, 4. So it is given a rating on the basis of 1 to 5 scale. It is given a ranking on 1 to 5 scale. That means when a factor gets a scoring of 5, rating of 5, it means it is the most important. And when a ranking gets 2 or 1, it is not very important. Similarly, I have given rating to location A and location B on a scale of 1 to 10 on the basis of their importance of the factors. If I see here, so the location of A gets a rating of 8 on raw materials, where location B gets 9 on raw material basis. Location, if I consider water, location A gets 7 rating, location B gets 6 rating. On climate, location A gets 3, location B gets 5. Civil amenities, it is 5 and 6. What I do here, I just multiply. What I multiplied? That 5 I multiplied with 8 to get a score of 40. For what? For location A. Similarly, I multiplied with 5 with 9 to get a score of 90. I may be n number of factors, and these factors are rated on the basis of scale of 1 to 5. Similarly, I have m number of locations. These locations are rated on the basis of availability of that factors. That means 1 to 8 means the raw material, 8 and 9, I just give you an example. The raw materials wise, location B is slightly better. But if you compare water, location A is slightly better. In case of availability of land, both are equally good. So just I say multiply 5 into 8, 40. Similarly, 9 into 5, 45. What I do that? I will add this. Suppose I 40, 21, 6, 10, 20, 24, I add this. Similarly, 45, 18, 10. Now, I will find this sum, which is the highest. The location which gives you the highest, I go for that. That is called factor rating. That means on different, I consider various factors and I scale them. I also take different locations in my considerations. I also give rating to the locations on the basis of the factors. Yes. Availability of power 4, 8, 10, 32, 40. Here the total score for location A is 169 and location B is 200. That means B has an edge over location A. That means if I am interested to set up my business, I should go for location B. Location B is the best place if I consider the factor rating. Then sometimes company go for break-even analysis. Break-even analysis implies that some point in operations, the total revenue equals total cost. Break-even analysis is concerned with finding the point at which revenue and cost agree exactly. Break-even point is the volume of output at which neither profit is made or loss is incurred. So, break-even analysis is such a point where we don't have any profit or loss. We don't have any profit or any loss. It is a point of no profit and no loss. This analysis also helps us. This analysis also helps to give an idea whether a company should go for a particular plant or a place or not. So I have taken an example here. Let's take an example of a garment company. A garment company intends to set up a unit to produce a jeans pant. It is considering side A and side B. It is considering side A and side B. And C, 3 places for the purpose. We are given some information. And the information are the selling price is 1,000. The annual demand is 5,000. Then the question comes is which site will recommend? Which site will recommend? So fixed cost is given 24 lakhs 50,000. For A it is B for 21 lakhs. For C it is 18 lakhs 70,000. Variable cost is 335, 310 and 320. Now we will consider the revenue. If it is 1,000, for 5,000 it is 50 lakhs and cost as location is fixed cost is 20. So variable cost is 335 per unit. So for 5,000 units it is 60 lakhs 75,000. So if you add both this, it is coming to, so profit in location A is 40. Say 1 lakh for it is 148 lakhs 75,000. So you consider location B. The fixed cost is 21 lakhs. Similarly, we consider the variable cost. Calculate the total cost. Calculate the profit. 13 lakhs 50,000. Similarly, cost C, location C, it is, if you compare the profit of the 3 organizations, if you come, now, it is a mistake here, there is calculate 50. So, if you compare the 3, I find here location C is selected because the profit is more here. So, what the company here does or what it did is to find the total cost and find the total revenue and calculate the profit. And the location where profit is more, the location where profit is more and the place is selected. The place is selected. So, break-even point, as I already told you, is a point where there is no profit and no loss for the organizations. It compare the total revenue and total cost, and the criteria is to find out, compare the profit in the different locations. Wherever the profit is more, we select that place. Another important, say, criteria is center of gravity technique. Location at center of all geographical areas or branches, and it helps to reduce the cost during transportation. This method considers the existing warehouse facilities and calculates the perfect location based on market, volume of goods and supply, transportation costs, labor market situation and cost, and industry knowledge. So this method generally takes account 4 to 5 factors. First is market. Where is the market for the, and what is the volume of goods we want to send to each market, and where is the supply comes from, and what is the transportation cost of the, say, sending materials to the markets, and what is the labor market situations and industry knowledge. We can calculate the center of gravity based on demand, supply, or lowest distribution cost. Depending on it, if you determine the best location from a service point of view or cost point of view, the number of shipments, volumes are essential, weighing the factors when calculating the center of gravity from a cost perspective. So, when you talk about the center of gravity technique, we calculate the center. Now, I give you some examples. Suppose there are 5 A, B, C, D, 5 places of my warehouses, and in different parts of my country. Where should I locate my plant so that I can easily, say, give service to all the, say, warehouses, to all the stocking points. So here we calculate the demand and supply. Demand and supply means what is the demand of each location of each warehouses, and what is the supply, what is the distribution cost, and on the basis of that we determine and number of shipments, how many times you send, and what are the volumes are essential for weighing factors when calculating the center of gravity. So there are other methods also, the median methods as well as the equal, say, weightage method, that you can also find out from the textbooks. But basically, if you see that is, these are the 3 important quantitative factors. First one is your factor rating method, break-even analysis method, and center of gravity technique. So to conclude my discussion today or lecture today, I will say that location decision is very important in today's competitive world. In today's competitive world, if your location decision is wrong, or if you make a wrong locational decisions, it will give a failure, or it will not make your organization very successful. So nowadays, company takes lot of care, lot of precautions while starting their new business. Today's world, more importance are given to the service sectors, because service sectors are booming now, and equally importance, locational decisions, equally importance to given to locational decisions for the service sector. Thank you very much. We'll carry forward our discussion in next class about plant layout. Thank you.